Dr. Hapi.
How we
Happy New
doing?
Year. Good, good,
Happy
good
New
to see
Year.
you. I'm not going to belabor your conversation. It's good to see you in the room.
Thank you. It's good to see
Amen.
everyone else in the room. And I look forward to us having a vivid, lively conversation and discussion on what we're going to talk about this evening. We're talking about trying to have a long life. And to have a long life, you have to have certain things going in your behalf. And we're talking about in the cellular world. In the cellular world, just like if we don't have a strong immune system, whatever kind of microbe come, be it the bird flu, be it COVID, pneumonia, the flu, RSV, any of them, if we don't have a strong immune system, any of them can take our life, right? So the protocol that you all implemented along with those nutrients, and I think what we have to do is start showing them again, Sister Miller, even before this presentation, so the people can see the products again and start ordering them, and so they can see the brochure again, because it might be some new people come on here, and now we have to disseminate. So what we're going to talk about this evening, though, we're going to talk about anti-aging strategies. And we're talking about these particular strategies on how they affect our longevity. So we're saying, well, what is it that gives us longevity? What are the main indicators that give us longevity? Well, we now know in science that longevity is coming from certain cells in our bodies. And these cells, they call them stem cells. So some of us have heard of stem cells. Most of us by now might have heard of stem cells. And stem cells is what we know that they get from the placenta of mothers when they have children. We know that your babies have very strong stem cell production, and we know that those stem cells are the master cells that make all the other cells in the body, that create all the organ systems, that create all nine systems of the body. And when these cells are damaged, when the stem cells are damaged, that is our first stage of deterioration from longevity, the stem cells. So then we ask the question, and the question is, how can we increase our stem cells? Well, first of all, we have to know that by the time we're 30 years old, we've used up half of our stem cells. And by the time we're 60, we've used up the other half. Now, if we don't have stem cells, we can't keep reproducing cells in our bodies to repair our organs, repair our systems, and to stay well. And so these stem cells, they are a cornerstone to our longevity. Now, where science is right now, science is creating stem cells different kind of ways. They're getting stem cells from the embryos, and they get stem cells from something in your blood called PRP. And these two ways are ways that allow these stem cells to keep repairing our organs and our systems. But the problem is that these stem cells, as they decline, they also affect some other cells in the body. And these, Sister Brown, you were going to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I accidentally did that.
Okay, that's all right. All right. So these other cells in our bodies, these other cells, they are all of the different cells that our stem cells have created of our systems. And what happened as we age, these cells start to deteriorate. They start to break down. And what they call these cells, they call them zombie cells. Their real name is Senescence cells. Senescence cells are cells, that's the name that they've given them. These are the cells that are dying. These are the cells that are damaged. And what these cells do, hold on to these cells start to cause and help cause inflammation. So when we're young, we may get inflammation from an injury. We may get inflammation from falling, injuring our knee. We may get inflammation from having some kind of injury to our bodies. But when we look at inflammation, we look at it in terms of on multiple levels. We don't just look at it in terms of we fell and our bodies got injured. We don't look at it as we're an athlete and we got injured. We look at it as in the cellular world that our cells are breaking down. And as they break down and they cause inflammation, inflammation will then cause us to have pain. If we got inflammation, we're going to have pain. Inflammation can cause infection. So, inflammation, even as we talk about the bird flu and all of that, even as we talk about the COVID, when those microbes come into the body and they cause infection, well, what can infection do? Infection can affect the immune system and it can give us short term or long term death. Well, short-term death is where one of these microbes like pneumonia or bird flu, any of those come, they can give us short-term death. Long-term death is us getting cancer. This is long-term death. All of these deaths would come from the immune system being compromised, and the immune system can get compromised if our stem cells are not continually producing new cells to repair us. So we say, well, these particular stem cells, how can we get them? How can we get these stem cells? Well, we are in a point now in science that they can take the stem cell from the embryo or from the placenta and they give you a shot. And the shot might cost you $6,000. Let's say they're going to give you a shot in the knee. The orthopedics give you a shot in your joints. So they might give you a shot in the knee to prevent you from having to get a knee replacement. That's what we're hearing more about now. We're hearing more about that. Or they may give you a shot in the hip. They may give you a shot in the shoulder. And it could help. It could help stimulate some growth cells, which would stimulate some stem cells and could help repair you. If it's too far gone, it won't help. It will deteriorate, and you would have to get a knee replacement, hip replacement, what have you. But then we talk about what are some of the problems that might come from stem cells, from getting it from a embryo or a placenta. What are some of the problems that might come from that? Well, how about developing tumors from that? That we could develop tumors from the stem cells, the body not taking the stem cells in properly. This would
Dr.
be,
Hapi,
yes.
I don't mean to interrupt. Are you
Uh-huh.
moving your slides?
No, not yet. I'm still
Okay,
talking about stem cell.
just wanted to make sure.
Okay, I will be moving in a minute, but right
Okay,
now I'm still talking about the stem cell.
all right, thank you.
Uh-huh. So with the stem cell, we could actually develop tumors. These can form and they can help to contribute cancer. Cancer development can come from getting stem cells from someone and your body didn't accept it. It rejected it. Your immune system rejected it. You could get stem cells and it could cause graft failure. If you were getting stem cells, say for skin grafting, that you might have skin failure where it doesn't take. And now you have graft failure. So this is another way the stem cells might not work. And then there's the ethic concern about getting stem cells from babies and from placenta. And this is some of the things that we're seeing that Trump and all these politicians are going to be coming at that. They're going to be questioning that. That's why they're saying they're trying to eliminate um, having um, you know ha, having babies having abortions. They're trying to prevent that. So we're saying, well, what can we do? What can we do to help get our stem cells growing better? Well, there is something called PRP, and this is one of the ways where they can actually take blood out of say your knee. They can take blood out of your knee. They can spin it, what they call a centrifuge. They can spin the blood, pull the plasma out and the platelets, and then they can insert that back into your tissue to stimulate growth for the stem cells. This is one of the ways, another way that they can do it. Now, they are doing that, particularly in orthopedic clinics and what have you, because we have a lot of people now starting to have hip problems and knee problems, and they're talking about hip and knee replacements, and they're trying to come up with stem cell and PRP as ways to affect that. And then we have other stem cell injections where they're giving injection into the heart, where it helps to grow more cells for the heart, or they're looking at stem cells for the brain for affecting dementia. They're looking at stem cells for Parkinson's disease. They're looking at stem cells for for all of those type of neurological problems, those type of problems with the brain, those type of problems with even your other organs, giving stem cells for your other organs. So we're saying, well, are there other ways that we can get stem cells? Well, we're going to go into that. I'm moving the screen now to the second slide. In the second slide, now we're talking about something called telomere shortening. Can everyone see this? What is aging? The aging process. What is aging? Cellular senescence and telomere shortening and inflammation. Well, cellular senescence, that's what I just talked about. That's your cells starting to become damaged. They're starting to die, and they're starting to create inflammation in your body when they're around your other cells. And what they call this is they call it zombie cells. We're gonna show you a video on that in a few minutes, but I want you to hold in your mind that it's zombie cells as to where the research is now. They've done the research on the stem cells, they've done the research on the genome, so they know how to do gene engineering, gene re-engineering, or retro-engineering to try to help to fix cells in the body when a person is young so that they don't develop certain diseases as they get older. But what they're looking at now, they're looking at telomere shortening. Have any of you all ever heard this term called telomere? Some of you all might have telomere. And what they're saying is that telomere is showing that in your cells, that the cell, they now see that instead of the cell being round, the cell is round with a little tail on there. And the size of that tail is telling us how healthy the cell is or how sick the cell is. And when the cells are sick, you're going to head toward your more chronic diseases like your cancer and all of that. So let's just look at that for a second. I'm going to go here and I'm going to pull up this right here. Now, I don't know if we can see this, but I'm going to try to see if we can see this. Let me come into this. Let's see. See. Bear with me a second, if you will. Okay, let me go into this and see if I can share this. Tell me if anyone see this. Can you all see this, what I'm showing right now?
Yes, Dr. Hapi, we can see it.
Okay, let me see if I can enlarge it. Okay, can we see it now?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
it looks textbook. So can you expand that?
yeah, it is textbook. I'm getting ready to break it down. This is textbook. Now, what this is talking about is talking about that they have now found out that in our cells, there's a little tail on the end. Think of yourself having an apple. And usually when you have an apple, there's a little stem on the end of the apple, right? This where the apple was cut off from the tree. There's a little stem on it. So let's say our cells have a little stem on it, and they've identified these stems on the cell, and the stem is kind of like your gym shoe string. If you have a gym shoe string, it has a little plastic tip on the end. And if that tip breaks down, then that cloth is going to unravel. And then your gym shoe string is going to unravel. So they're saying this is how a cell breaks down. It breaks down when this tip that they call a telomere, that's what we're looking at right here, the regulation of the telomere length. You're talking about that little tip on the end of the cell. If that tip starts to shorten, if that end starts to shorten, then your genes cannot keep your cells healthy. And you're going to have shorter cell life, which means you're going to have shorter longevity. So it's talking about this process. It requires coordination between the telomeric protein complexes and the ribonucleoprotein telomeres. Well, telomere. So what they're saying, they're talking about hormones within your biochemical processing in your body, how your biochemistry works. This is what they're talking about, and how it works with how your tissue repairs. So here they're talking about the telomere protein modulates. So these are proteins that your cells need in order to help your telomere stay healthy. That means to help the tips of your cells to stay healthy. That's what the telomere architect is about. And then when they're talking about recruiting these hormones to access your telomeres and orchestrate the conversion of new telomeres in your single strand DNA, they're talking about the DNA tail. That's the tail that's on the end of your cells. They're saying the dysfunction of that leads to telomere shortening, which cause human diseases. This is what they're finding out now. Where's disease coming from? It's coming from our cells breaking down, and it's coming from our genomes not being able to replace these cells, and from our cells not being able to sustain themselves. And then once we move into the telomere shortening, the tail shortening, we move into our human diseases. Now, these are our chronic diseases. These are our bone marrow failure, our premature aging, and our cancer. That's where they come in. These are when our bodies are in their chronic states, to be breaking down, and this is where our disease-causing mutation in these encoding genes affect specific functions. So these functions might show up as us getting bone cancer. It might show up as us getting, for a male, getting prostate cancer. It might show up as a female getting breast cancer, or getting cancer of a cervix, because the cells are breaking down in these areas. This is what I'm talking about. These cells. So we have to replicate, replace, repair, and we have to keep these tails on these cells. We have to keep them long. This is what they're talking about when they say the telomere length. Now, let me go a little further into this, and let me show you something else. So we say, well, what can we do? What can we do to make sure that our cells are going to stay healthy? Well, based on what I just said, do we need to know about some foods that's going to make our telomeres long? Do we need to know about that? That's a question I pose to everyone. If telomeres are the keys to our cells staying healthy, and if we don't have these telomeres, that our cells are going to be damaged, and if too many damaged cells are going to cause our immune system to break down and we get infection, or we get a weakened immune system, then that means the microbes can come and get us. COVID can come and get us. Cancer can come and get us. Any of these chronic type of microbes, infection can come and get us. So now I want us to look at this. Can everyone see this, what I have up now? Can we see it?
5 foods, yes.
Okay, good. Now, these foods, they help to grow the telomeres, along with some herbs I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be talking about what do we need to do if we want to have longevity, if we want to have long life, if we want to have healthy cells, if we want to have healthy organs. We have to we have to move into the the present research where we are right now. Just like Sister Miller was talking about, we have to move into the research with CDC and keep up with what's happening with the bird flu. Well, we have to move into what have they found out that could help us to stay healthier and have a longer life, longevity. So I'm gonna break this down. So what they're saying now is this is where the research is. It's saying that we used to believe DNA was our destiny. Now they're saying we're looking at the life choices that can affect DNA, the lifestyle choices. So this is 2009. They say this one person, this Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for unlocking, she was the one who locked the telomere. This is 2009 now. We're 2025. So we're talking about 16 years ago or 15 years ago, she discovered this. Well, between that period of time and this period of time, how many of us even, and this is what Sister Miller was talking about. Information can come into the books, they can come into your journals, but do they get to you so you can find out how you can stay healthier and not be the victim of the lack of understanding how the body is breaking down? So here we break down telomeres a little further. We say the end caps that protect our chromosomes, that's what the telomeres do. The telomeres have been linked or likened to the plastic tips of a shoelace. When they get damaged, the shoelaces, which we would call our chromosomes, become frail and can no longer do their jobs well. Telomeres are shortened every time our cells replicate and naturally shorten as we age. They can be shortened by an unhealthy lifestyle, poor diet, lack of exercise, lack of proper sleep, smoking, obesity, and stress. So if I ask any of you all, have you been stressed lately? Have you been eating a poor diet lately? Have you been lacking exercise lately? Have your sleep have been poor lately? Do do you smoke? Are you around smokers here lately and even before lately? Are you overweight? All of these will contribute to the shortening of the telomere. And when the telomere is shortening, the cells are going to be damaged and these chronic diseases will come upon us. So now we say longer telomeres, longer life. Nutrition can have a significant impact on the length of telomeres. So they're saying over this last 15 years that they have found out that the length of our telomeres and the state of our health with regard to chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, depression, anxiety, that these longer telomeres have been associated with longer health, longer life, and the lack of these particular symptoms, both psychologically and physically. They're saying in September 2013, the Lancet, which is a journal that most medical doctors are aware of and have access to, that they featured this study that showed the effects of lifestyle on telomere length. Now, there's this one doctor, his name is Dean Ornish. He's very popular. He was a heart doctor, very popular. Him and this other doctor I just mentioned, Elizabeth Blackburn, who got the Nobel Prize, they reported that a comprehensive lifestyle shift resulted in elongated telomeres in men with low risk prostate cancer, that they had their telomeres were longer and they had low risk prostate cancer. The lifestyle change included a low fat, plant based diet, moderate daily exercise, stress management, which means they could have been learning meditation, yoga, doing Tai Chi, Qigong, and social support, which means they have friends. They get with their friends. They be on the phone talking to their friends all the time, family members. That this intervention group increased telomere length by 10%. And that the group that didn't have the healthier lifestyle wasn't eating the more comprehensive plant-based diet, that their improvement was only 3% reduction in telomere length after 5 years, which means those telomeres were getting shorter, which means more of those men were getting cancer of the prostate, more of those women was getting cancer of the reproductive organs, the breast and the cervix. Most of those people were getting cancer of the colon. They were getting more of these chronic diseases because the telomeres were shortening. So now they're looking at nutrition more so. They're saying the nutrition could have a significant impact on the length of the telomeres. 2017, this person wrote the book, The Telomere Effect, Elise Epel. And they recommended the plant-based diet, including the fresh vegetables, fruits, whole grain, nuts, and legumes, which is like beans. Other nutrients rich were seaweed. We say, do any of us eat seaweed? Well, who do eat seaweed? The Japanese eat it. The Koreans eat it. The Chinese eat it. And in their populations, what do we see with the Chinese? We see more healthier, older Chinese. We see that the Japanese, even after being bombed by the atomic bomb, that the Japanese are now healthier than us. But they eat seaweed. We don't. They drink green tea. We don't. So do we need to add that to our diet? How about having some green tea in the morning rather than just coffee all the time? How about having seaweed and putting seaweed in our salad when we have salad? Because we need vegetables from the sea, vegetables from the earth. The vegetables from the sea give us the minerals to help create the omega-3 in our bodies, the omega-6 and 9 that help our brain have healthy fat so we don't get dementia, help our bodies have healthier fat, so that the brown cells can keep our immune system stronger. So what's one of the foods we need to consume? Flaxseed. I'm sure all of you have heard of this. And so in this food, we can put it in our salads, put it in our smoothies, and it's a great source of omega-3, which I just talked about. It helps to stabilize our heart. And so they're saying that the studies show that the higher the levels of omega-3 in the blood, the less their telomeres decline over 5 years. They say, okay, well, what other foods do we need? They're saying that the omegas are rich in the soy foods. Well, women, they know the soy has estrogen. For the men, we don't recommend that as much. And so we would recommend more of the green leafy vegetables and the high quality algae-based food supplements, or just algae itself. That's where we have spirulina. We have these particular seaweeds that we can eat them ourselves. And these seaweeds are seaweeds that we have to get used to eating because we don't eat seaweed in our American diet. Now, the next food is spinach. How much are we eating spinach? Usually in November, we plant our spinach seeds, so we have spinach in April, May coming up. So spinach is very critical for helping to stimulate the telomeres. The spinach has the folic acid. It has the B vitamin. It helps require the DNA synthesis. It repairs the metabolism of the cell. And the folic acid, when we get high levels of homocysteine, they burn holes in our arteries. So when a person has just ate some red meat and they're starting to have heartburn, those are holes being burned in your arteries. Holes are being burned from the acid in the red meat, from the acid in the sugar. They're burning holes. And when they burn holes, your body has to put the cholesterol. It has to send cholesterol there to patch it up. Well, when you send too much cholesterol, you have too much of a patch. It breaks off. Now that's when you have the clots, and the clots are getting clogged up in your arteries, and that's when we're stroking. That's when we're stroking. So in 2016, they talked about B12 and folic acid having high, when we lack that, it's having high homocysteine and shortened telomere length. So they said, well, what do we need to eat? What do we need to help the arteries? What do we need to eat to help the telomere length? Well, they're saying we need broccoli. Well, how many of us are eating broccoli? We need asparagus. How many of us are eating asparagus? We need Brussels sprouts. How many of us are eating that? And then we need lentils, and we need pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, kidneys. We need all of these, as well as a high level of like sourdough. Sourdough, they found out that that particular type of grain helps in our digestive system, our eliminative system. So then they say, okay, well, food do we need? We need mushrooms. Well, how many of us are eating mushrooms? They now find out that mushrooms are very important for our health. They're finding out that the mushroom serves in the quality of the vitamin D to help the telomere length. And we need the fungi, we need these earthy fungi and these mushrooms to help stimulate the vitamin D. We see that those who had shorter telomeres had inadequate vitamin D. And it showed that these people were not getting all of the nutrients that they need to get, and they were getting deficient. And when they were getting deficient, the telomere length was getting shorter, which means their longevity was getting shorter, which means their health was getting weaker, which means they were moving into these chronic problems of the cancer and these other chronic problems of the Parkinson's, these chronic problems of the multiple sclerosis, these chronic problems of the bones and of the organs, because their telomeres were shortening. They say, well, what's the next food? Well, the next food is the berries. Do we talk about that? We talk about getting enough of the berries because the berries will give us the antioxidant. Well, the word antioxidant means antioxidizing. Well, what is oxidizing? Our cells. So if our cells are not oxidizing, our cells are staying vital. And when they're staying vital because we're not getting free radicals. Well, where do free radicals come from? Well, one place it comes from is fried oil. When we fry our foods, and a lot of us eat fried chicken, we like fried stuff. That creates a lot of these free radicals, and these free radicals help to wipe out the vitamin C, the vitamin E, the selenium. It wipes out our antioxidants, and so then we have to replenish. So what do we need? We need carrots, we need sweet potatoes, we need yams, we need winter squash, we need the green vegetables, we need the tomatoes, we need the citrus, the cantaloupes. We need all of this and the seeds and the nuts in order to help the telomeres become healthier. The last is the oats. Well, are we getting do we eat oatmeal for breakfast? Do we have we can have oatmeals with the blueberries. Do we have any of that? That's how we should start our breakfast. And then not put a lot of sugar in there, but we can even take the blueberries, we can blend them up, we can mix them up into the oatmeal. I see some of these products on the market now where they're talking about blueberry oatmeal. It's mush. It's a product they're selling at Whole Food now. And then it's just them putting blueberries with the oatmeal, blending it up in there, making it healthier. So we start adding this to our diet. Well, what else will we get with the oatmeal? We'll get fiber along with the beans and the lentils. And when we get fiber, the fiber is going to help the colon move better. We won't have constipation. And when we don't have constipation, it's easier not to be getting cancer of the colon. Because if we get in constipation, it means that our system, the elimination system, is not working well. When that system slows down, we have a lot of acidity in the body. When that slows down, the elimination, our telomeres are going to be getting shorter. Our telomeres are going to be getting shorter. So our goal here is to lengthen our telomeres. Our goal is to lengthen our telomeres. So now let's look at one thing right here. Let's go back here and let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so now we say we have these three areas. We have three areas we must focus on. We must focus on the stem cell. We must focus on the advanced biomolecules. And we must focus on herbal medicine. So we say, okay, well, we know what stem cells are now. We know what they do. And we know about the potential of tissue regeneration and repair, particularly if we're getting the healthy foods that we need to be eating. And then if we deal with the tissue regeneration and repair of the stem cells. And so now we look at this research right here. This is the research. How can we make these stem cells healthier? What do we need to do in the herbal biological world? What do we need to do over there? Okay, well, we need to now move into advanced biomolecules. We need to move into advanced herbal medicine so that we can help our stem cells to grow. Now, we talked about the limitation, the ethical considerations of dealing with stem cells from the baby, where we can develop tumors, we could have failure of our tissue grafting because our bodies don't accept the stem cells. But what about tying in our herbal remedies with our anti-aging? Okay, so we say, well, we say the role of our growth factor and our biomolecules with our anti-aging is that the role is to repair our cells so we can have longevity, right? It says our growth factor involved tissue repair and regeneration, and it says the telomeres, the potential to lengthen our telomeres and slow aging. So we say, okay, the antioxidants. Well, we went over that in relationship to our eating. We talked about not eating the fried foods that cause the oil to become rancid. When the oil become rancid, it creates free radicals. We talked about in one of our sessions, we talked about eating food that's too old because we say when we have cooked food, we keep it longer than 2 days, it starts to create bacteria in the food, particularly if the food is not covered well, where the food is all the way to the top in the container, so you don't have a lot of air in there that can cause the food to spoil quicker. We say that this is another antioxidant, that when the food spoils, we're going to have oxidative stress that's going to cause us to weaken our immune system and cause more damage. Now we need to know about our herbal remedies. Okay, so what herbal remedies do we have? We say, okay, we have ginseng. When we look at this historical use, we say, well, we got some ginseng. Well, a lot of women don't know that ginseng can be used for women too, not just men. And it has what's called an adaptogen response. But what do that mean? That means the ginseng acts as a herb to help decrease stress on your body from chemicals and foods that you eat, to help decrease the length of your telomere. So the ginseng is one of the foods that's in China. They consume it for longevity. You say, okay, well, what other food here? Can we eat this herbal? I say, okay, well, we can take turmeric. Are we starting to hear about turmeric in the last couple of years? Have we been hearing about turmeric? Is turmeric being held as a miraculous herb? Well, they've only been using it for over 10,000 years in the East. They've been using it in China. They've been using it in Japan. They've been using it in Korea. They've been using it in India. Everybody else in the third world countries have been using it except us. Because who told us that it's beneficial? Well, we start seeing it as research starts showing it being helpful. Well, in my studies as a doctor, we were being taught about turmeric in 1975. That's 45 years ago. We had supplements. One of them was called Standard Process that we would recommend to our patients. And then we had something in the turmeric which was called it as a particular food. It When we use it, this was the byproduct called curcumin. The curcumin was the product in the compound in the turmeric. So if you consume turmeric, but you didn't really get a strong milligram of the curcumin, then the turmeric was only giving you 4% of the curcumin, which means you would need a whole lot of turmeric to get an adequate amount of curcumin that helps to decrease inflammation, which means it would help to lengthen the telomeres. Because if you have less inflammation, your body can repair. We went over a seminar strictly about inflammation. If you have less inflammation, you'll have less infection. So we're saying, what's one of the other herbs? This particular one is called Resveratrol. Well, what is resveratrol? Well, where did that come from? That comes from red, purple grapes. Grapes that are purple and grapes that are red. And they found out that this resveratrol that is in there, and in the last 10 years, they start talking about it, that you need to drink grape wine so that you can get resveratrol. Well, how much grape wine would you need to drink to get some resveratrol? Well, let's say you need a whole case of wine, not a bottle, but a whole case to get enough resveratrol that if you took that in a pill, if you took that in two pills can give you enough resveratrol that you would need a whole case of wine. So, but now we're starting to hear that your alcohol can do what? What are we hearing about the alcohol? That now they're going to put labels on the alcohol because they're saying now the alcohol works as an oxidant, that it can start now creating cancer, and they're going to put labels on alcohol because alcohol can shorten your telomeres, weaken your your stem cell, and cause your body to have short longevity. So now, as far as a lot of drinking, now we're saying we have to be drinking less because if we drink more, we can get cancer because it came from drinking. The drinking causes stress and wiped out our telomeres. Okay? So now we're saying, but do we need resveratrol? Yes, we need resveratrol. Yes, we need turmeric from the curcumin, but now they find out you go to the health food store, you can get curcumin itself, about 900 milligrams. That would mean you would have to have about 20 pounds of turmeric, 20 pounds to give you what that bottle of curcumin gave you in one bottle, because we're finding out we're starting to standardize. We're starting to standardize certain compounds that we're getting in the herbs because now, as they move forward with science, like they did with medication, that we're starting to get herbs that are more stronger. They're starting to become pharmaceutical herbs, pharmaceutical level, where they can do so much more to help us. But now let's look at this a little deeper. Meanwhile, we're looking at, well, how do these herbs interact with other medication? That's why doctors are asking you, well, what medication are you taking? What herbs are you taking with medication? Because herbal medicine is not a replacement for medical treatments. It's not a replacement for that. The herb remedies are trying to help your cells to get healthier, trying to prevent your cells from breaking down, trying to decrease inflammation. So that's where these herbs come in, trying to decrease inflammation and trying to keep your stem cells healthy and lengthen your telomeres. So now let's go a little further. We say, okay, well, what can we do about this? Well, we need a synergistic approach. We need the benefits of combining our stem cell therapy with an advanced biomolecules and our herbal medicine. We need to combine it now. We need to add the holistic approach with our diet that we just talked about, those 5 foods plus those other foods in the plant-based world. We need to exercise. We need stress management to give us a synergistic approach so we will not be in that number of those people who will be getting older and who will be starting to have chronic problems because their telomeres are shortening and their bodies are not producing stem cells anymore. And also, we're getting the effects from plastics. We're now finding out that plastic leaches when we get our food in plastic. We got plastic containers, we got plastic bottle, we got plastic containers to put our food in. We're now finding out when those plastics heats up, they're releasing chemicals, plastic chemicals. That is another toxin that we're finding in our bodies. It was just a thing on ABC just the other day. In fact, I had it on my phone, and I should have had put it in this particular presentation, but I will show it to you. I will show it to you later. But it was them talking about a toxicologist saying how toxic plastic is for us now, and that we have to get away from plastic. We should not be heating our foods up in plastic, and that's helping to cause toxicity in our bodies, along with these zombie cells that our bodies are creating because we don't have the healthy food to keep our stem cells healthy, to keep our telomeres long, and to keep our cells from breaking down. So let's listen. Let's listen now to a little bit about what do we need to do with these with these advanced biological herbal medicine. Where are we at with that now? Okay, well, let's listen to this let's see where we are evolving now. Let's see where we are. We're going to talk about the zombie cells. Here we go.
Y'all want to hear the mayor story? And not only that.
We call this quantum wellness, a new frontier.
Our story begins in the aftermath of World War I, when the Spanish flu pandemic claimed 50 million lives. Desperate for answers, royal families turned to top scientists to uncover the root cause of illness and the effects of aging, using only the power of plants. For decades, this team of brilliant minds studied and isolated the highest frequency molecules from 44 of the most powerful healing plants on Earth. After 30 years of meticulous research, they achieved something miraculous. This breakthrough laid the foundation for discoveries that would later win Nobel Prizes in the 1950s, recognizing the vital role of nutrition, and took this research even further. They documented and perfected a process to extract the most nutritious parts of each plant, refining it from over 150 million possible combinations.
Let me go back just
This led to the creation of Hercules, the most advanced breakthrough in continuous. In 1973, a special team of European scientists took this research even further. They documented and perfected a process to extract the most nutritious parts of each plant, refining it from over 150 million possible combinations. This led to the creation of Hercules, the most advanced breakthrough in nutrition available to this point in history. Hercules is built on a precise blend of plant nutrients delivered directly to the bloodstream, bypassing common absorption issues. These formulas not only supports the body's internal systems, but also presents a new frontier in reverse biological aging. The story of this extraordinary supernutrition technology spread quietly among the elite and privileged, known as straight from God's garden. Hercules was trusted by adults, babies, pets, and animals alike. It was a safe, potent solution that enriched the blood, enhanced microcirculation, and targeted zombie cells, helping raise the frequencies of the body's immune system. As the elite experienced life-changing results, a visionary businessman saw an opportunity. His mission was clear: to bring this once exclusive technology to everyday people at affordable prices. The evolution continues. This visionary imagined a world where anyone could benefit from these technologies: Hercules, Revive, and Hercules high-frequency eye patches, without needing to visit clinics or doctors. He dreamed of making these advanced formulas accessible, affordable, and available right at people's doorsteps. He connected prestigious partners who could help his vision become a reality, and something new was born. These once secret formulas, now simply known as X, combined with the process to extract the high-frequency healing molecules, they put it all together, and new extracts was born. The evolution continues. Today, new extracts champions three extraordinary products: each transforming the health and well-being of families worldwide. The global expansion has begun, and now you are the next phase of this remarkable journey. Are you ready to be part of the evolution?
Well, let's just take this a little further. Let's see. The toxic truth. Let's see what happens with the toxic truth.
Hi, I'm Kara Posick, and I am fighting mad. Why? They're poison. I'm a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother. I can't keep quiet about this. Do you know that the United States ranks 49th in average life expectancy in the world? Do you know that 75% of Americans have chronic disease? And only 50 years ago, it was 1%. 74% of all Americans are overweight. 50% of our children are overweight. 50% of every 3 children are diabetic or pre-diabetic. What is happening? Where is all this coming from? You know that the same scientists that sold us the lie that tobacco was safe or even healthy, I mean, they never mentioned how addictive it was. Do you think they knew? Do you think that was part of their plan to sell more? Well, those same scientists are now working for the food industry. Do you think they might be adding addictive, toxic chemicals so that we can just eat and eat and eat and eat and then go buy more? It's certainly not about our health or our children's health. It's about their bottom line. I used to actually believe that all of our products had been tested for safety. Don't we have agencies that are supposed to do that? Do you have any idea how many thousands of chemicals are allowed in our food and our products that have never been tested? And how many of these chemicals are there to reduce their costs at the expense of our family's health? Look at some simple examples like food dyes, which are actually banned in Europe and many other countries, not ours. Yellow dye, petroleum product, which is associated with depression, autoimmune disease, and ADHD. Who do you know that has that? Red dye is another petroleum product. It shouldn't be in our body. It's associated with hyperactivity in children and increased cancer risk. They're in our children's cereals and candies and practically every product that we put in our bodies or put on our skin. And those are only 2 of thousands. Chemicals, preservatives, toxic fillers. It's in everything that doesn't come straight from God's garden. I've been aware of this for a very long time. Way back in 1991, I wrote a book called Why Are You Poisoning Your Family? Exposing the toxins in foods, supplements, skincare, household products. It was a 1 million copy bestseller translated into several languages. I thought it could make a real difference when people knew what was happening. But back in 1991, 1 in 1,000 children had autism. 10 years ago, it was 1 in 100. Now it's 1 in 36, and they're estimating that by 2030, it'll be 1 in 5. Today, 18% of our teens have fatty livers. That was never even existent before. Cancer rates in young Americans are up by 74%. 40% of teens in America have a mental health diagnosis. This has to stop and be reversed, or we will be the next extinct species. Fertility rates are actually declining yearly now. It's at a historic all-time low. But the good news is that it looks like some things are going to happen, that massive change is taking place, and that it's promising to clean up corruption and toxins and poisons in our food and our skincare and our household products. Thank God. I just pray it happens with ease and with efficiency. But you know, I still haven't heard of anybody talking about cleaning up the nano and microplastics in our food and our skincare products. They're in everything from our mustard and ketchup and mayonnaise to meat and vegetables that are grown in our stressed out soils. They all contain microplastics, and they're in huge amounts in our bottled water and nearly everything we drink. Microplastics are even being found in the placentas of our babies. We are ingesting millions of plastic particles daily. What the heck do you think that's doing to our bodies? You know, when you cut your finger and it bleeds, where do you think that blood is coming from? Not your arteries or your veins, or you could bleed to death instead of just scab over and heal like we do. Microcirculation makes up 70% of your circulatory system. Those vessels are so tiny that 100 of them could fit in something the size of a human hair. And there are around 10 billion of these in your body. What do you think microplastics are doing in these tiny micro vessels? They feed our organs and our cells with oxygen and nutrients. Over time, these microplastic particles build and build until they block these microcirculatory vessels of oxygen and nutrients and life force. So we can't think as clearly or see as clearly, hear as clearly. Our organs don't function as well until, who do you know that is actually really healthy today? What are we doing to our children, our grandchildren, our future? This downgrading of our health is on an exponential trajectory, and it has to be stopped now. I've been involved in natural health and energy medicine for more than 50 years. Only 5 years ago, I found an answer that has restored my health and the health of my precious family. I call it microcirculation nutrition. It's all about feeding our blood with the highest form of 100% plant molecular nutrition, nothing artificial or synthetic. So what happens when this revolutionary microcirculation nutrition enters our body? Our microcirculation relaxes, it opens up, it dilates, it accepts it, it welcomes it, so it can nourish our bodies to a whole new level. What do you think happens when low frequency toxins, chemicals, synthetics, plastic particles enter our body through our food and our skin? Microcirculation cracks and constricts and tightens and flow of energy, nutrition, oxygen, and life force itself. So here's the really good news. Thank God. I am so happy and full to be able to share with you something that I've been searching for, waiting for, praying for most of my life. And I'm 76, so that's a pretty long time. This microcirculation nutrition opens up the microcirculation and nourishes the body through 100% plant molecules and SSC, self-stem cell technology. When the circulation opens up, our miraculous bodies can clean those toxins, chemicals, and even microplastics, even though they say that microplastics can't get out of our body. This will do it. So you want to see what this looks like? This is me 5 years ago before microcirculation nutrition. I had been doing everything right. Well, I was in a wheelchair because of an accident and I refused to have back surgery. I still have not had it. But I'm walking just fine because of microcirculation nutrition. I've been eating well. I ran a health clinic. I ran a yoga school. I mean, everything was really, really right. The best I could do. But we live in toxic soup. But look at me now. Look at me now. After using this microcirculation spray in my body to nourish my cells and clean out my system, and a cream on my skin that takes the place of absolutely everything else I had been using on my skin. Oh my gosh, this is the answer. And I am on a mission. I am on a mission to share this with everybody. Everybody needs this. We live in toxic soup. This is the answer that we've been praying for. This is the answer that you've been looking for you and your families. Please watch the evolution video next. 4 minutes. It can save your life. blessings for the health of you and your family.
Now I want to show one more thing. Show one thing.
What was once exclusive to the elite is now accessible to the common person. Nutrition that supports the regeneration systems of the body. Over 50 years of research and development have focused not just on identifying the top plants on the planet, but also on discovering the most beneficial molecules from these plants and understanding their effects on the human body. This research has led to the creation of 3 remarkable products based on specific molecule technology, which utilizes particular plant molecules that serve as food for the body. Let's start with the fundamental science. Life is in the blood, and the building blocks of blood come from food. Only food can create lasting change in the body. Specific molecule technology means that the molecules remain unchanged from their structure within the plant. As a result, the body doesn't need to break them down or digest them. Immediately go to work. This allows the body to use its energy for healing rather than digest. And this research into blood-supporting molecules are iHercules, iRevive, and iHercules high-frequency eye patches. iHercules was developed to support the body's 3 systems of regeneration: the vascular system, including microcirculation, the immune system, and your self-stem cells. Microcirculation feeds all the nutrients in the body, all the way down to the cells of our body. By supporting nutrients for the blood, the body is naturally able to alleviate the crud in the blood. Healthier blood heightens your immune system. This is key to all the functionalities of our body, including eliminating zombie cells. Zombie cells are damaged cells in the body that just will not die, but they use nutrients and excrete toxins, which create more zombie cells. The only thing that can eliminate these cells are your own uplifted immune system. iHercules also feeds nutrients to support stem cell production throughout the body and is from the inside out, offering the chance for a longer life. At 30 years of age, only half of a person's stem cells are active, and by age 60, very few are active. With a heightened immune system and healthier blood, your self-stem cells are able to become new cells at an elevated rate, which is also how our bodies regenerate naturally. This is not anti-aging, it's reverse aging. What we are talking about is feeding the core systems that God gave us to regenerate. iRevive cream enhances iHercules and targets issues from the outside in. It promotes new skin formation and supports stem cells in the skin's middle layer. These stem cells, called fibroblasts, can migrate to other areas of the body as needed. iHercules high-frequency eye patches are bioenergetic discs that, when placed on the body, help alleviate various symptoms such as pain and inflammation, stress and anxiety, energy, sleep, male vitality, female vibe, joint pain and inflammation, allergy relief, electronic chatter, weight loss and appetite suppressant, and mental clarity. They also carry the frequency of iHercules and grounding frequencies protecting us from electronic chatter, like cell phones, Wi-Fi, and 5G, allowing the body to bathe in these molecular frequencies all day. These 3 products work together. iHercules is built to support the core functionalities of life. iRevive allows you to target from the outside in and supports the regeneration systems of the body. iHercules high-frequency eye patches are for the symptoms of life. Eye patches, minutes to hours. iRevive, days to weeks. iHercules, weeks to months. iHercules is the core product, and it aims to provide a lasting solution. The proof is in the product's effectiveness. What the elite have known for years is now becoming available to the public. Better health leads to a better future.
Okay. All right, let me come out of here. Okay.
If you're looking for younger, highly nourished, and flawless skin, iRevive is your solution.
Okay, so let me come out of here. All right, so now let me finish up. Let me finish up. See what we got. We were back here. Let me see. Go here. So far, are there any questions so far? Are there any questions?
On your reserve, I can't really understand that right. That reservatol, can you get that? Can you get that in capsules or pills or stuff like that?
You can. You can.
Huh?
Yes, you can. They have that in pills now.
Okay.
It's been over 7 years ago. I started buying some at the store that was pills. Oh,
Oh,
7 years ago.
okay. You take it as instructed on the bottle, or
Yes, I just
okay.
now one of the things that we're looking at here is that I've now started researching this spray that they're talking about here. This,
Hmm.
this Hercules. I started researching it. I
Uh-huh.
had one patient, he has neuropathy. Neuropathy in his foot, real bad, shooting pains, all kind of pains in his foot. He had in his knee was swollen where he was standing up, his knee was starting to catch. He's 73 years old. He's starting to move like an old man. So I put him on this Hercules, and in a matter of a month or so, month and a half, about a month, he's telling me he's running for the bus. He's running for the bus. His legs have gotten that much better that he had to run for the bus to catch the bus to have the bus take him to his car to pick his car up. But he's saying that this is what the
Pardon, I cannot hear. Are
Hercules has
you
done
still
for
talking,
him. This is what Hercules
CJ?
has done for him. Now, someone else that I turned the Hercules on to, this was a female that was starting to have problems with holding her urine, incontinence. The Hercules started strengthening her womb muscles where she could hold her urine. Another person, I turned the Hercules on and started stimulating their brain wave where they start having less dementia in their brain. Another person I turned on to the Hercules where they were starting to develop arthritis in their knees. The knees started to decrease inflammation, where they would wake up in the morning, the knees would feel swollen, and when they get up, they would have to wait before they could even walk. And even when they would be driving from one side of town to the other, just 40 minutes of driving, they get out their vehicles and they're moving like an old man. Now they're moving like a younger, healthier person again. So what we're seeing is that if we eat better, if we deal with these herbs that I'm talking about, and then we move to the advanced biological medicine, which is a spray, which means it's not like a herbal drink where you got to drink a lot of liquid herb. It's not like taking pills where you got to go through digestion. It goes right into your blood because you hold it up, you spray it up under your tongue and you keep it there. You keep it there for about a minute or longer, and it goes right into your bloodstream and it starts to repair process. Well, what are we repairing? We're repairing the body so it can keep making stem cells. We're repairing the body so it can keep the telomeres long so that our cells can stay healthy and we don't get as many damaged cells, so that we have the opportunity to have longevity with minimum pain and suffering through the years, the better years of our life, and not be able to be one of those who's running to the doctors all the time, going to the hospital for this surgery, that surgery, the other surgery, having a declined state of health so that in our later years we're sick all the time, that we're the ones that when the COVID come, or when the bird flu come, or when the pneumonia come, we're the ones that's going to get it because our immune systems are so depleted. They are so weak already. And so that's why we must move into herbal formulas. We must start eating better, advanced herbal formulas. We must start eating better so we can have a greater possibility of helping our bodies to work better. So this is the seminar that I wanted to bring to us so that everyone could see it and everyone could have opportunity to get healthier. We have one more. We have one more, and then we're going to conclude. Okay, so now we've shared with you technologies, herbal technologies that I talked about, like the turmeric. You need to know more than the turmeric. You need to be up on the curcumin. I talked about the resveratrol. You need to be up on that instead of drinking a lot of glasses of wine that could weaken your immune system, because now they're saying alcohol can help to cause cancer. Also, I said the telomeres are shortening, and when they shorten, your cells damage. And when your cells damage, and you got too many damaged cells, it's going to cause inflammation, which is going to cause you to have a bunch of pain and cause you to be depleted, de, debilitating, like you saw in the video where they had to help the old man up because all his joints are all stiff. He has no energy. His body is breaking down, and we don't have to be like that. So now we talked about the promising new technology. That's the new extract. The conclusion. The conclusion is the key findings and potential stem cells. We talked about how to start doing that. The biomolecular medicine, we talked about that. The comprehensive approach, we talked about the synergistic, eating the better foods, eating the 5 foods we talked about in particular, eating the other foods, having a plant-based diet, leaving all the fried foods alone, leaving all the alcohol alone, leaving all these artificial chemicals that we're having in our foods that we get from processed foods at the store, and start coming back to the garden. That's the main point that we have here. So we know that the research has to be ongoing, but we know we must move forward, just like Sister Miller said with CDC. They do research, and in research, they're finding out where the bird flu is, where it's developing into, so that they create the means and the measures to try to alleviate it from coming into the human population. Well, the same thing with our bodies. We want to know how to decrease the inflammation that's coming in our bodies, how to decrease how to increase the stem cell production, and how to decrease the loss of the length of the telomeres so that our bodies can stay healthy. So, like myself at 75, I have a body that works pretty good. I'm not on any pain medication. I'm not on any kind of drugs, nothing at all. I can outbreathe the best athletes. I have vitality. I eat a plant-based diet, and I feel wonderful. Well, do we deserve that? Do we want that? Well, I would think this is what all the goddesses want. That's why they come on here. That's why they stay plugged in, so they can become more and more educated about the research that is ancient and future, so we can have the opportunity to learn ourselves and then share it with our families. That's what the God is supposed to be doing, is sharing it with their families, just like you saw the European woman who was on here. Once she stepped into the new biomolecular medicine, did she not look younger? Did she not look healthier? Did she look broken down woman that you saw on the right, or she looked more like the healthier who was talking? So with that, I'm going to end the presentation and ask, are there any questions?
Does that work? That spray work on blood?
Uh,
Where do you get the eye Hercules from?
That is a protocol that I have access to that we would have to order for you. We have to order for you. It comes in these, they look like lipstick canisters, and you just spray it under your tongue. What it does, it goes into your blood at a very concentrated level. Now, what they found is that because this is going through the bloodstream, it's not going into the digestive system all that much. They have had no negative interactions with medication. No negative interactions with medications.
That's what I want. That's what I want to
Really
know.
good. Yeah.
Release something there.
Now remember, this research is 50 years old. If you saw the pictures, this is the research that they were dealing with the people in England. Those are the people that started the research with these scientists. And 5 years ago, they cracked the code and they came up with the formula, and it had been mainly in your European countries. It was in 19 countries. It wasn't in this country. It's only been in this country a couple of years. So I take it myself. My wife take it. We put the revive. That's this it's like the salve. You put it on your skin and your skin start getting softer and healthier. It rejuvenates your skin. You take in the spray, it rejuvenates you from inside. You put the patches on you, it rejuvenates you from the outside. So you got something working from the inside, the outside, and working from the skin itself.
What
This
about the
is the
patches?
new research. Yes.
What about the patches that you said eye patch? You put it. What
You
is that
put it
good
on your
for?
skin. See, where we are now in science, we know that they have medicine can come into your bodies through the skin. Just like they have contraceptives for women now, anti pregnancy contraceptives where they put the patch right in front of their reproductive organs and prevent them from getting pregnant. So we know now they have patches that pull nutrients into the body, it pulls medicines into the body, and it pulls frequencies into the body. And what we now know is that we are now in the 21st century of research. And those of us who are in this research and utilizing this research and utilizing this information, which is what's being exposed to you all, as well as being informed of what's happening with CDC, and then creating our protocols to help keep us safe and healthy, keep our families healthy and safe. That is the only way. That is the only way our families will get healthier. Because if they're not taught in the kitchen, if the mother, or in you all's particular case, the mother or the grandmother is not the God is dropping the knowledge in the kitchen, they're going to get they're going to get the knowledge in the streets, they're going to get the influence from their friends, they're going to get the influence from the commercials, and they will keep eating the processed foods, and we will see more people getting sick. We will see the children starting to get more autism. We will see the other children starting to get diabetes at earlier ages. Our whole community and health of our people will start deteriorating because we are not proactive enough. And so that's why this knowledge is not just comprehensive, it is super crucial and critically important.
What about children? Can children take these
They
products?
certainly can. It's just herbs. They're concentrated herbs that it's a spray up under the tongue and it goes right into the bloodstream. I have children that I have been working with. One of them was having he was having thrush. Thrush is uh, Candida albicans. It's a microbe that proliferates and it can cause white film in your mouth. but it's a prerequisite to cancer.
Mm.
Candida albicans is a prerequisite to cancer. And so
Yeah.
these protocols help to move the body into a very alkaline state. That's the basic of this whole thing, that we're becoming too acidic, too acidic, too acidic. Everything we're eating and drinking, and found out they just had it on the news the other day that red dye is a contributor to cancer, but they're going to let the food industry continue producing the food with the red dye for another 2 years before they got to take it off the market. If you already got cancer and now you're eating some foods with red dye, and now you're getting more cancer, your cancers are proliferating, and no one has told you that the red dye is what's helping cancer, because the food industry have lobbyists that give politicians a bunch of campaign money to allow them to poison us and allow them to make us sick, that in other countries in Europe, all this is banned. Why is it not banned here? Because we have a corrupt political system that can be bought. And if we don't protect ourselves and our family, it is our fault. It is our fault. It is our fault for being sickly and letting our families and suffering. And that's why I brought this particular video. That's why I took out a whole extra week to do this presentation, because I was going to do it last week, but I didn't have it together because I said it's too important to not have this together, to give you all a full blast of this knowledge and understanding, utilizing these videos to give you some more insight.
Praise
Yes,
the Lord.
Paula.
Dr. Hapi, what's the difference between these patches versus the life wave stem cell patches?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Well, you can use the light waves. The light waves cost $118. These cost $79.
Oh, that's a
That's
difference.
that's one difference. So this light wave patches cost almost $40 more than these patches. That's the first. The second is that this is a synergistic approach. We're not just using the patches, we're using the sprays, because the sprays are entering the body internally through the blood, and it's ramping up your ability to produce a high alkaline body. Now, where is the body of the young people who have not been polluted by all these chemicals that we have been polluted by? Where are the bodies of the young people who have not eaten all the fried foods and all the processed foods? They are more alkaline. They have more stem cells. So they have a greater chance to repair, a greater chance to be healthier. We have more of all this unhealthy food in our bodies, so we're developing the problems. We're starting to get the shortened telomeres. We're starting to get the the modified, or the the immune cells and the immune system being compromised. We are compromised. The more we understand we're compromised, the more we will make more actions and more efforts to get into the garden, to get into eating organic foods from the garden, fresh as possible. And if we're not eating them fresh, we're eating soups that are steamed soups, that we can get our vitality back. So if we're dealing with the foods and we're dealing with the sprays from the herbs, and we're dealing with the patches, and we're dealing with the the salves, and we're drinking the vital water. We talked about water. We're breathing the vital air.
Do the
If
breathing.
we're doing all these things, God will bless us with healthier bodies. And we can be that example, the example for our families. Where will our families get inspired from to do the right thing if we are not the ones doing the right thing, getting healthier and inspiring them? Where are they going to get inspired from?
Yeah. Well, I have a granddaughter that has type 1 diabetes. She's 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
Now will those spray help her?
The sprays could help, but again, everything that I just talked about,
Yeah.
everything that I just talked about, it's a synergistic effect.
I
You
got you.
can't just take the spray and allow her to be eating wrong
Yeah.
because she's still going to have a weakened, compromised system of the blood sugar. The
Mm-hmm.
sprays, I have people right now that's dealing with the sprays. Most of the people I'm dealing with are older.
Mm-hmm.
I have one person, her grandson has he had autism. He had autism. He was
Mm-hmm.
9 years old. He had only said one word, mother, in
Mm.
9 years. They
Mm.
put him on this spray, and he's now saying whole sentences. He's now talking. Brain has turned on.
Mm.
So what we're saying is we have to give a synergistic approach. We have to be eating better.
Mm.
Don't be letting the daughter eat a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of sugar, all of that, because that will,
Mm.
even with a type 1,
Mm.
that will still get the pancreas in deeper trouble, where she still could have a short life because she's eating unhealthy.
Mm.
So everything I talked about on this particular seminar was really trying to tune us up more, tune us in more, so that we
Mm.
can be more proactive, because it's kind of like these seminars are just, they're just data points. They're just information. If we're not taking everything in and then applying everything, it's just information. It's not really helpful to us. It's
Mm.
just information. And because you all are the goddesses, you all are the ones that need this the most. You are the ones that can have
Ladies.
the most effect on our children, on our families. Some of you all are the grandmothers. So if you all are not the ones dropping the knowledge to the young people, which is what they did in the ancient past, the grandparents walked with the knowledge. They taught the parents, and the parents then walked with the knowledge and taught the children, and everybody was walking with the knowledge, living the knowledge. But we have a very perverted society now. We have politicians that will sell us out all day long to these food industries. These food industries will produce all this artificial chemicals that will poison our food and destroy our families and destroy our children, and it is up to us. So, are there any more questions?
Like like someone saying about the life waves, does it take a longer time with the life wave as compared to the spray that you're talking about?
They're doing two different things. Think of the spray as something being very proactive immediately. As soon as you
Okay.
spray it into your body,
Mhm.
it starts an effect. Well, what effect is it doing? It's getting rid of the acid in your body. It's stimulating your stem cells and your telomeres so your body can repair. So it can repair.
Mhm.
Like another person of mine, she's a reverend, and she had real bad neuropathy in her leg, real bad. And she came to see me with another person who had had a stroke. And so her arm was still in spastic state from the stroke. She couldn't bend her knee, her leg from the stroke. And I put them on the new extract on the Hercules, excuse me, on the L Hercules. And now the one had the neuropathy. She can feel her feet better. She's walking better. She's lost about, excuse me, she's lost about 50 pounds. And then the other one, she's walking better. She couldn't even hardly get in the car because the leg was straight. She couldn't bend the leg. She couldn't even hardly get in the car. Now she can get in the car. She can move faster. She's walking better. So from the cases that I see, I'm seeing that it's helping. I have not I have not used this case for someone with
Life
type
wave.
1 diabetes. So that would be an interesting research on that.
So life wave is not proactive as your product.
Well, it's doing one thing. See, it's only coming from the outside. what we're saying here, you need a synergistic approach. You need the outside, the inside, and you need the oil coming in through your skin. You saw the woman who was
Yeah,
talking. You
right.
you saw how old and aged her body looked. Now
Mm-hmm.
she's been in this protocol when it first came out. She's been in it 5 years. How much better does she look now compared to the picture you saw of her all broken down, her looking like an old woman? What's the difference in how she look and sound now compared to then?
She looked a whole lot better.
So she's taking the Hercules. So now that should be just a eye opener for everyone here. If it helped her, and she's someone who's supposed to have been into health, all of that, but she didn't have the eye Hercules, and now she has it, and we see a difference between night and day, then what do that tell us? Do it tell us it's something we need to start some research on? Well, I started. Me and my wife, we're taking it. And so I'm feeling better even though I was feeling great. I'm feeling better. Well, what kind of symptoms am I having to say I'm feeling better? Well, I'm having more energy. My knees were starting to stiffen up a little bit. They were starting to stiffen up. I could feel it getting up in the morning. I could feel it when I would drive for a distance and get out the car. I don't feel that now. My knees feel like younger knees again. So is that saying that this the micro circulation, that this I Hercules is getting into my micro circulation and helping my knees? Yes, that's what it's saying.
How long you
I
been
had
taking it?
the I had patches before. I've been a distributor of these other patches.
Life with.
I've been a distributor of them for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Did not help my knees. They did not help that problem. But when I got these patches with I Hercules, and then I started doing the spray, and I put the oil on my face, and now my body is starting to get better more. My skin, I can see it on my hands. My skin is starting to renew. Because my skin was starting to wrinkle. My hand, it was starting to wrinkle. Now my hands are looking younger. My hands and my face starting to look younger. So
How long have you been taking it?
I've been taking it for about 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
I
Here's
think
my
I
husband.
told Dr. Blessman about it about a month ago.
Mm.
About a month.
Dr. Dr. Hapi,
Yes.
Yeah.
has there been any been any research on high blood pressure, how it affects that?
This is one of the protocol. This is the protocol for high blood pressure also. There's a
Mhm.
person, she was on a call because they do these conference calls with different people that's getting results.
Okay.
The blood pressure was 250 over
Ooh.
100.
Oh my goodness.
She was going to the hospital
Oh.
on a regular kind of basis. She was almost staying at the hospital because they were concerned she was going to stroke out.
Mm-hmm.
She's been on this protocol. Her blood pressure is now 120 over 70.
Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So all I'm saying now is everything that I bring to you all is more modern. Is either ancient or modern. I talk to you all about water, and I talk about the best water system. I talk to you all about air. I talk to you all about the best air system they use out in NASA in outer space because they can't afford to send a spaceship out there to bring somebody home if they're sick. So they have the best air filters, the best water filters, the best, and I'm saying we should have the best. These right now is the best biomolecular medicine on the market now. And the research is 50 years old and they've broken the code. And this is what the wealthy people in Europe, this is what they're getting. Now they got a choice. They can use this or they can spend $30,000 for stem cells. Stem cells cost $20,000 to $30,000. If you get a shot in your knee, that's $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
But you need stem cells. That's the thing. You need to be increasing stem cells and telomeres because that's what's going to keep your cells healthy. And if you're not and you're eating a poor diet, you're going to have a bunch of health problems. just like perhaps some of your friends. They got a bunch of health problems. They're very sickly, especially when they move into the 60s to the 70s. And then they start having all kind of problems with their brain, getting mental fog, getting dementia, all of this because we're not getting the blood, the alkaline blood to all these micro blood cells in our body. We're not getting the healthy blood with the high level of alkalinity that these herbs cause. So I hope this particular seminar was helpful.